The cashmere scarf slips through my fingers, its softness a cruel contrast to the icy words still echoing through my phone. "Maybe it's better if you sit this one out," Trevor says, his voice carrying that casual lilt that always precedes bad news. Marissa's new. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. My gaze drifts to the perfectly wrapped Christmas presents, stacked beside my suitcase, gifts I spent 3 extra hospital shifts to afford. The bread pudding's cinnamon aroma turns from comforting to cloying in an instant. I've been uninvited from my own family, Christmas. I'm Nicole, a geriatric physician at Boulder Memorial Hospital. For 8 years, I've been the family fixer, paying my parents' mortgage, funding my brother's art studio, covering mom's knee surgery, all while being told I'm too serious or too intense, not fun enough for family gatherings. My hands move with surgical precision as I end the call. The kitchen counter welcomes my hospital ID badge with a soft click. Christmas lights twinkle on my modest tree, casting shadows across presents that now have no destination. The snow whirling outside my window blurs as I open my banking app. $1,200 monthly mortgage support for my parents. Canceled. $6,000 art studio loan to Harrison. Terminated. $2,500 for mom's knee surgery rehabilitation. Stopped. No announcement. No explanation, just the quiet click of buttons that feels more decisive than any raised voice could be. My phone lights up again, mom's name flashing on the screen. I consider letting it go to voicemail, but habit wins. "Hi, Mom." "Honey," her voice drips sweetness, the kind that coats bitter pills. "Harrison told me you're upset." "Did he tell you why?" "We just think." She pauses, and I hear the shift in her tone, the one she uses when talking about Marissa, bright with admiration I've never heard directed at me. "It might cause tension if you come. We may not even answer the door." My fingers trace the edge of the wrapped cashmere scarf meant for her. "You're actually doing this." "Don't be dramatic, dear. There's always next year. Maybe if you tried harder to be more festive." The words settle like lead in my stomach. 20 years of too serious, too quiet, not fun enough crash over me. I think of my elderly patients, how their eyes light up when I sit with them, how they thank me for listening, for caring, for seeing them as people instead of problems. I don't argue, don't plead. My banking app is still open from moments before. One by one, I cancel the financial support that's flowed from me to them for years. The support they've taken while pushing me further from their table. Steam rises from my chamomile tea as I sit surrounded by Christmas preparations that suddenly feel hollow. I should cry, should rage, should feel something beyond this strange, floating sensation. A text lights up my phone. "Merry Christmas early, honey. We'll figure this out next year." I set the phone face down and watch Snow Blanket Boulder in silence. For the first time in years, I feel lighter. Empty, yes, but lighter. The presents can go to my elderly patients. The bread pudding will make the nurse's break room smell like home tomorrow. Christmas morning dawns bright and cold. The scrubs rustle against my skin as I gather the presents I'd wrapped for family, now headed to the geriatric ward instead. The soft wool of the cashmere scarf brushes against my hand as I close the closet door. Dr. Hartman. Agnes Miller catches my wrist as I adjust her pillow at the hospital. Her paper-thin skin feels cool against my hand. "You're the only family some of us have today." I squeeze her fingers gently. Then I'm exactly where I need to be. The day passes in a blur of small moments, straightening blankets, listening to stories of Christmas mornings from 50 years ago, holding trembling hands through blood draws. The staff brings me coffee, dark and strong, leaving it outside patient rooms where they know I'll find it. "You didn't have to work today," Lisa, the charge nurse, says. "Thompson volunteered to cover." This is better than sitting home alone. Her eyes soften with understanding. She's seen enough family dynamics in this ward to read between the lines. Olive Wilson sits propped against pillows in room 412, silver hair neatly braided, a small Christmas cactus blooming on her windowsill. She pats the chair beside her bed. "You look like someone carrying a heavy weight today." My professional mask slips for just a moment. Olive catches it. She never misses much. "Family isn't always blood, Doctor." "Hartman." She adjusts her oxygen tube. "My son hasn't spoken to me in 30 years because I wouldn't give him money for another failed business venture. The hardest lesson is learning that blood doesn't always mean love." Across town, I imagine the scene at my parents' house. The dishes will be done by now. Harrison always times the cleanup to finish before the evening movie marathon. He'll be showing Marissa the photo wall, pointing out vacation snapshots and graduation portraits. That's when it happens. That's Dr. Nicole Hartman. Marissa's voice rises in recognition as she stops at my medical school graduation photo. The room goes quiet. She saved my grandmother's life. The silence stretches as she continues, wine glass forgotten in her hand. My grandmother said she was the first doctor who made her feel like a person, not just a patient. Harrison shifts his weight, that nervous tell I've known since childhood. "Hey, who wants to watch White Christmas?" But Marissa's gaze lingers on the photo, on the sister who should be there. The questions form in her eyes as she looks around the room, noticing the empty chair, the careful way everyone avoids mentioning my name. Later, she'll corner Harrison in the kitchen. "Where is your sister? Why isn't she here?" He'll fumble through explanations about my intensity and Marissa's sensitivity. Each word will plant seeds of doubt, of realization. The family's facade will crack just a little more. Days later, Marissa's social media post appears. To Dr. Nicole Hartman, who saved my grandmother with exceptional care and compassion. Thank you for your sacrifice working this Christmas while others celebrate. You represent the best of healthcare. The post spreads through Boulder's tight-knit community. Art gallery patrons recognize Harrison's last name. Mom's bridge club whispers over their cards. Dad's golf buddies ask pointed questions about his doctor daughter. The family's carefully constructed image begins to crumble, one shared post at a time. Back in the geriatric ward, I hold Olive's hand as she drifts to sleep. The Christmas cactus drops a coral bloom onto her blanket. Outside her window, the sun sets behind the flatirons, painting the snow-covered peaks in shades of rose and gold. My phone stays silent in my pocket. No more family photos, no more forced holiday cheer, just the quiet certainty that I'm exactly where I belong, with people who see me, value me, appreciate the gift of presence over presence. 2 weeks later, snow blankets Boulder in bitter white as my phone lights up for the 20th time. Harrison's name flashes on the screen, accompanied by a bank notification. Payment failed. Art studio loan. The automated payment notifications from the bank must have alerted him immediately when I canceled the transfers. I delete his message without reading it, just like the others. Can you reach out to Marissa? Clear things up. Harrison's losing gallery connections. Your father's golf buddies are asking questions. A formal letter arrives from my father, the heavyweight paper carrying his law firm's letterhead. The words swim before my eyes. Concerns about your increased working hours and signs of professional burnout. At work, Susan from HR catches me between patient rounds. Dr. Hartman, your father called about arranging a mental health leave. She studies my face with careful concern. I told him all leave requests need to come from the physician directly. In my office, I open the bottom drawer and add his letter to a growing file labeled Documentation. 8 years of canceled checks, loan agreements, and payment records nestle beneath it. Friday afternoon brings an unexpected visitor. Marissa stands in the hospital corridor clutching a bouquet of winter whites. Her designer boots click against the linoleum as she shifts her weight. She must have found me through the hospital directory after her grandmother mentioned I worked in geriatrics at Boulder Memorial. I didn't know you weren't invited to Christmas. Her voice carries none of Harrison's practiced charm. They talk about you like you're some distant relative, but my grandmother can't stop praising the doctor who finally listened to her. Harrison told me he supports your career. Marissa's mouth twists. He made it sound like he was the responsible older brother looking out for his kid sister. I paid for his art studio. The words fall like snow, soft but cold. And their mortgage, and Mom's knee surgery. Marissa's fingers tighten on the bouquet stems. He never said, all those dinners at expensive restaurants, the gallery openings. Her voice trails off as understanding dawns. They used your money to exclude you. Before I can respond, my pager buzzes. Mrs. Wilson in 302 needs attention. Excuse me, I murmur, already moving toward my patient. Some responsibilities matter more than others. Sunday afternoon brings heavy clouds and heavier footsteps outside my apartment. The knock echoes like a gavel strike. Through the peephole, I see them clustered in the hallway. Mom in her good wool coat, Dad gripping his leather portfolio, Harrison with a stack of papers I recognize as overdue notices. They must have gotten my address from the emergency contact information I provided for their medical procedures years ago. Nicole, honey, Mom's voice drips sweetness. We just want to talk. I open the door exactly 3 inches, the security chain drawn tight. The familiar scent of Mom's perfume tries to pull me back to childhood holidays, when I still believed trying harder would make them see me. No. The word comes out calm, like delivering a diagnosis. I start to close the door. Wait! Harrison thrusts the overdue notices toward the gap. You can't just... The door clicks shut with quiet finality. I've been paying your bills for 8 years. My voice carries through the solid wood, clear and measured. Years of calming, anxious patience has taught me the power of a steady tone. You've been taking my money while treating me like an obligation. Mom's intake of breath sounds sharp. That's not fair, honey. We've always... I won't fund my own exclusion anymore. Silence stretches between us like a flat line on a heart monitor. Dad clears his throat. This isn't like you, Nicole. A laugh bubbles up, surprising in its lightness. Through the door, I say what decades of silence have buried. You never knew who I was. Their footsteps retreat down the hallway, leaving only the whisper of papers sliding under my door. Payment demands, guilt wrapped in legalese. The price they assumed I'd keep paying to belong. I gather the papers without reading them, add them to my documentation file, and return to reviewing patient charts. Outside my window, the snow has stopped falling. The late afternoon sun breaks through, setting the white landscape ablaze with unexpected light. A year later, on Christmas Eve, snow drifts past my window, each flake catching the glow of white Christmas lights. The scent of apple cinnamon bread pudding wafts through my apartment, rich and sweet, mingling with fresh pine from the Douglas fir in the corner. Light reflects off vintage glass ornaments, casting warm shadows across framed photographs, moments captured with patients, colleagues, friends who became more. Marissa's letter sits on my mantel, framed in simple silver. Her words about her grandmother's care face outward, a daily reminder that sometimes strangers see us more clearly than family ever could. The gentle tap of knuckles against my front door breaks the quiet. Come in, I call, sliding another bread pudding into the oven. The door opens to familiar faces. Sarah from pediatrics, John from radiology, Elena from physical therapy. Their arms overflow with dishes and small gifts. Something smells amazing in here, doctor. H, Sarah says, setting down a crystal bowl of cranberry sauce. Her holiday sweater sparkles with tiny lights, a holdover from the children's ward Christmas party. More colleagues filter in, filling my once quiet space with gentle chatter and laughter. A timer chimes and I pull out the bread pudding, golden brown and perfect. The ritual soothes me. This time, I'm cooking for people who choose to be here. Nicole? A soft voice cuts through the noise. Olive Wilson stands in my doorway, leaning on her walker but stronger than last Christmas. Her silver hair catches the light, expertly styled for the occasion. "You made it." I cross the room, taking her coat. The walker clicks against hardwood as she settles into the armchair I've saved specially for her. "Wouldn't miss it." Olive pats my hand. "To think, a year ago I was stuck in that hospital bed, certain it would be my last Christmas. And now look at you." She grins, adjusting the red shawl around her shoulders. "All thanks to the doctor who saw me as a person, not just another chart." A knock at the door interrupts our gathering. Olive's eyes sparkle with something knowing as I rise to answer it. Her granddaughter stands on my welcome mat, cheeks pink from cold. I'd given Olive my address weeks ago when planning this gathering, knowing she might need to share it with her family to arrange transportation. "I brought someone who wanted to meet you." She steps aside to reveal Marissa, holding a small gift wrapped in silver paper. "I hope it's okay," Marissa says. "I've been wanting to thank you properly for everything with grandmother." The silence stretches between us, heavy with unspoken understanding. Then I step back, opening the door wider. "There's plenty of bread pudding." When she mentions her recent separation from Harrison, no one offers empty platitudes. These people understand that sometimes walking away is an act of self-respect. "Your grandmother asks about you," she tells me later as others chat over coffee and dessert. "She says you saved more than her life that day in the hospital. You showed her what strength really looks like." I think of the brother who couldn't make room for me at his table, the parents who took my support while withholding their acceptance. A text lights up my phone. "Merry Christmas. We miss you." From Mom. No manipulation this time, no veiled requests for money or reconciliation. I set the phone aside without responding, turning back to the warm circle of my chosen family. Olive launches into another story about her nursing days, her hands painting pictures in the air. Sarah adds her own hospital tales, while John groans at the medical humor. These people see me, the quiet strength, the dedication, the heart beneath the professional exterior. They don't need me to be louder or lighter or different. They pull up chairs to my table and bring dishes to share and understand that family means making room for who someone truly is. I used to think love meant being the one who stayed late, who fixed everything, who never needed thanks. But real love doesn't make you beg for a place at the table, and a family that only values you for what you give was never family to begin with. The snow continues to fall outside my window, each flake finding its own path to the ground. Inside, laughter rings against my walls, and the scent of cinnamon and apples wraps around us like a promise. I found my way home at last,